Hi. I don't know how you got here, where you're from, but I'm really glad you came. I'm Mindy Stern, and today I'm going to talk about commandment number 6 of successful self-employed superwomen. The commandment is share your successes and your struggles with your family because no woman is an island. A matter of fact, no man is an island either. People need to communicate. And all too often, I see even successful businesswomen keeping the business side of their life separate from their family life. I think that's harmful to the women, harmful for their self-esteem. It sends the wrong message to your family about your success and about working and about life in general. How can you keep such a big part of your life totally separate from the other part? That, in and of itself, causes imbalance. This phenomena is much more extreme for the self-employed woman. At least women who are employed in a company can share their successes with their colleagues. Mostly, self-employed women work alone, and if you don't share your successes with your family, and friends for that matter, then you never get a chance to celebrate and enjoy being the big person that you are. You take your successes for granted and then move on really quickly to the next thing. Do you see yourself in this scenario? Please write your comments below, your answer down below in the comments area. Thank you so much for sharing. Keep in mind that success attracts success. So pay close attention to all your successes, big ones and small ones. Celebrate them. And by virtue of celebrating them, you will attract more and more successes. I think that sharing with one's family is taboo only because of the generations that lived before us. We simply inherited this non-supportive behavior from our ancestors. Way back when, women didn't work, let alone have their own businesses. So when women began to work, they didn't talk about it at home so they wouldn't make waves. They thought maybe if they didn't talk about it, nobody would notice. Well, today we want them to notice and we want them to support us through thick and thin. And the only way to get them to support us is by sharing both the thick and the thin with them. Another difficulty with sharing our business life or your business life with your family is that a lot of times they judge you or give you unsolicited advice or make you feel misunderstood, and that's a downer. In most cases, I want to believe that it's not done from malice. It's just that they don't really understand what the heck you're doing, why you're working so hard and trying so hard to be successful. They don't understand your ambitions and your passions. They only see your struggle, and they don't want you to struggle. They don't see your end game. Exactly because of this, you need to share what's going on in your business with your family. So in today's Power Boost training, you'll discover 3 techniques to share in a way that gets support instead of judgment. You'll discover 3 unsupportive beliefs that prevent you from being the big you that you are around your family. And you'll learn 3 behavior patterns that will enhance your communication with your family and theirs with you. So let's go. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is a technique. I'm going to go under the impression that you are not sharing, okay? You are not sharing your what's happening in your business with your family. You're keeping it separate. So to start off, but I guess even if you're already sharing, it's a good thing to do as well. The first thing I think is super duper important. It's start sharing your successes. Start with your successes. If you're not used to it, that's the best place to start. Because remember I said mostly the negativity, the judgment, the advice giving comes from a point of view that you really don't get, why you're struggling so much. Is it so important that you have to work so hard and struggle so much to become the success that you want to be? They just see your struggle. So here, if you're starting to celebrate, to start with your successes, to tell them about your successes, then they see your successes. They see what it's all about. They see how passionate you are. Because when you tell about your successes, the passion has to come out when you explain it. And it doesn't matter if they understand, if they don't understand. Just sharing your glow, your passion, your enthusiasm will light them up. And they'll also be glowing and enthusiastic and passionate for you in what you're doing. So really start with the successes. Successes are motivators. And again, Yes is like, in parentheses I'm putting it. Remember, success magnets, attracts more success. So start with your successes, share them. And I would say do it with your children, with your spouse, with your siblings, with your parents. Just start sharing your successes so they can understand and connect with the energy of success that you're putting out there. Okay, the second technique I want to talk about is to set the rules for sharing. Okay, it could be that until today, the way it works is that if you do share, you do get judgment, you do get unsolicited advice, you do get misunderstood in some way. So when you start to share, before you start to share, and before you're in the mindset that you have something that you want to share, have a discussion with your family. Start with your significant other, because they are, I would say they're probably the most judgmental, them and probably your parents, because they just want you to be, they really just want you to be happy, and they don't get it. They don't understand. It's not familiar to them. Okay, so now that you're in a point where you want to start sharing your business, what's happening in your business with your family, set up the rules. Let them know that you want to tell them what's going on. You want to share with them, but you want to do it without getting any judgment. You'd really like for them to listen to you, to be empathetic, to be supportive, to be really a sounding board for you to share your ideas, your thoughts, whatever's going on, without being a judgment. Let them know that you don't expect them to understand, at least not at the beginning, because it's they don't know what's going on in your business, and you want to include them in what's going on. So it's really important that they listen to you, and that you let them know that you want them to listen, you want them to be empathetic, you want them to understand. You don't necessarily want, at this point, maybe later on, at this point you don't necessarily want to get their advice, or if they think that it is good or that it's bad, whatever you're doing. Just to listen, just to try to understand, your point of view. No more than that. In this way, you've set up the rules of engagement. You've let them know that you want to share. You've let them know what your expectations or what your fears are about the sharing process that's going on. Okay? So once you've communicated that, there's likely to be a better response from the other side. Okay? Set up, and also you can do the same thing with your children. Just set up. I want to tell you more about what's going on. Will you listen to me? And exactly that is the third technique that I want to share with you. It's just a genuine ask. Ask them if they want to listen to you. You can start off by saying, wow, what a day I had. Do you want to hear about it? And then you're really setting the tone. First of all, you're not jumping on them. You're not catching them off guard. You're putting them in a mindset where you're asking them to listen, if they want to listen to you. So subconsciously, a lot of work is going on in their mind, in their mindset about, what to expect. It could be that it's not a convenient time. It could be that their head is in another place, and they might say to you, right now is not a good time. Let's talk about it in a half hour or later this evening. Okay? Which is also okay, and you should be able to accept that from them, because you're starting to communicate. And if you ask them if they want to listen, you have to actually accept their answer. I'm sure that 9 out of 10 times they're going to want to listen to you. But if they can't for some reason, it's better that you postpone until a time where they are open to do that. They're open to listen to what you have to say. Okay? So those are 3 techniques. Really simple. I'm going to review them for you, okay? The first one is start with sharing your successes. The second one is set up the rules of how you want to share with them, okay, and how you want them to react to your sharing. It might seem to them kind of, she has rules, but yeah, setting the groundwork is part of communication. And the last one I just went over is ask if they want to listen to you, if they're available mentally, psychologically, time-wise, to have a discussion with you about whatever it is that you want to share. And these techniques are good for sharing in general, not just for sharing your business. But now we're talking about your business. What's important is that you get a support for the activity that you're doing in the business, because you invest a lot of time, energy, passion, excitement in your business, and you need to be in an environment that is supportive of that, that helps you grow, okay? And the best way to create that is by sharing this information with them, okay? I'm thinking, but it just came to me, so I'm going to say it, okay? It's not really part of my presentation, but I really want to say it. If you find, and if you try, I'm sure that you will find, but if you find that your family is not responsive, okay? Probably more so the adults rather than the children will be like that, unless your children are adult also. Kids, even teenagers, are much more supportive than grown-ups are. And that's just a fact of life. However, if you find that the adults in your life are not supportive in any way, after you've tried these techniques and worked on the other things I'm going to talk about in the rest of the presentation today, you find that they're not supportive, then you need to go out there and find a group of people, not just one person, but a group of people who are supportive, who are like-minded, who are just like you, that are self-employed, that are ambitious, that want to have a successful business, and connect with them and meet with them often, okay? Not just one person, a group, okay? And actually, I'm going to talk about that at one of the last commandments that I have, has to do just with that. But I'm putting that again in parentheses, and let's go on. We're going to talk now about behaviors. No, beliefs. We're going to talk about 3 beliefs that you might have that that prevent you from being the big you that you are around your family, okay? 3 beliefs. The first one is the belief that they don't understand, okay? You have a business, you're doing something, you're selling something, you're inventing something, you're producing something, you're giving a service, whatever it is, your family does not really understand what you think. Your family won't understand what you're doing, okay? Why it's important to you. They won't understand what was problematic, and they won't understand what was successful, so why bother sharing? If they're not going to understand, you don't have someone who really is going to support you, so you don't go out there and try to share with them. So this belief that they don't understand is really not a true belief. It's not real that they don't understand, because if you explain it to them, I'm sure that they'll understand. They're all intelligent people. Okay? They just need a little bit of patience to say, I want to explain to you what this means before I share with you. Or to share it with them and say, did you understand? And if they say yes, which most likely they'll say yes, you'll say, great, thank you. If they say that they did not understand, maybe you can explain it. And when you're explaining and when you're talking about it, actually, you're brainstorming the idea. You know, we self-employed business people, we are a lot alone developing our ideas and concepts by ourselves. Once you start to explain what you're doing to someone else, the wheels start turning more. You understand better what you're doing. You said it out loud. It becomes clearer what's going on. So the sharing, verbal sharing, gives you a lot of strength and power and direction on how you're going to move forward. So even this idea that they don't understand, when you approach it and you explain it to them in a way that they will understand, then your wheels start to turn more and you understand better. You know, there's a lot of times they say that when you have a belief, it's actually, when you have a belief about someone else, it's actually a mirror of a belief that you have about yourself. Okay, and you should check that out, because I find that it happens to be very true. So if you think they won't understand, then you should ask yourself, what is it about this thing that I don't understand? Okay, and then you can get some clarity. And once you get some clarity, you can, again, move forward. You have more strength. You're more empowered to move forward in the direction you want. So it's not really that they don't understand. It could be that you still don't understand enough to be able to explain it. So you can change that belief. Then instead of they don't understand, you can change that belief to they'll understand if I explain it to them. How about that? That's a great belief to have. Okay, and very supportive. Okay, we don't want you to be with the limiting beliefs. We want to build them so they're more like affirmations. They'll understand if you explain it, okay? Or I'll understand. How about that? I'll understand better if I explain it to them. I like that. I like that even better. So write down also in the comments what new beliefs you want to adopt instead of they don't understand or they won't understand. What new beliefs do you want to adopt? And please put it down in the comments. I thank you so much for your sharing, because sharing is caring. And the more that you write and participate, the more you are going to grow yourself. Okay, the next belief that I want to talk about is they'll think I'm silly. Do you really think that you think you're silly? You are a successful, self-employed superwoman. Do you really think that silly is what fits into that, that definition there? You are not silly. You are a serious person with serious issues and serious concerns, with a serious business, with a serious product. There's nothing silly about that, unless while you're explaining to them, you're actually tickling them, and that's silly, okay? But if you're talking to your family, anyone in your family, adults or children, about your business, it's definitely not silly, and you're not silly. So I don't really think that anyone is going to think that you're silly. What might be is that you might have to explain. They don't understand, so you can explain it to them in a way that they will understand, and then you're no longer silly. Your business isn't silly. The gift that you provide to so many people and to the universe is not silly. It is a very serious, wonderful, great thing that you're doing, and definitely not silly. But it might be is unknown to the other side, and people who do not know about things tend to shy away from them. So let it be known. Share with them, explain to them, bring them in, engage them, and then it won't be silly for anybody. So what you can say instead of, they'll think I'm silly. Do you really think that people think you're silly when you talk about your work? I think that you do. I think that a lot of people do. I think a lot of women do. Because it's so out there. I mean, you put yourself out there, and women are not used to being out there so much, and I think that is silly. Again, I'm getting a lot of these mirrors here. So let's see there. You think that they think you're silly. So I'm going to ask you, where do you think in your business, do you think that you are silly? Do you think that you are silly? Okay, think about that. Because again, these beliefs that you have about someone out there might just be a reflection of a belief that you have about yourself. You think you're silly. Maybe you think that you're silly, that you're trying so hard to have a successful business, but you don't yet see the fruits of all your efforts. So you think that it's silly, and other people are going to think that it's silly. No, it's courageous. That's a wonderful new belief that you can have. It's not that they'll think I'm silly. They will think I'm courageous, that I've put myself out there and created this building, this business, in order to help people, to improve people's lives with whatever service or product or discipline that I have to offer. Oh, wow, I love that belief. That's the belief I want you to write down for me in the comments. They will think I am courageous, because you are courageous. You are courageous to start something all by yourself from the beginning, and to expect for something great to come out of that. Well, something great will come out of that, because you're here. That's why I know that something great will come out of it, because you are here. You are learning on how to make it into something great or something better. Maybe it is great already, and you want to make it something better. And you will. And you are so courageous for doing that. Okay, the next belief that I want to talk about is a really super interesting one. This is a belief that comes from us, I guess, a little bit of low esteem, self-esteem, and that is, I don't have anything interesting to share. Honey, girl, your life is interesting. Everything you do is interesting, because everything you are doing and you are learning and you are trying is so different than what everyone else is doing in their lives. It's so different. It's so interesting. It's unbelievably interesting. And that might even be why it's so new and different, that maybe that's why it needs some explanation out there of what's going on. Honey, you are the most interesting person in your family. And you got to believe that, because it is so true. You are doing something so different. And every day you're doing something so different. And you find new challenges and new adventures in your work. And and new people that you're meeting, and new clients that you have, and new customers that you have, and new techniques that you're using. You are the most interesting person because you are in the growing mode. Every day is a new day. Every day you learn more. Every day you are growing more. And that makes you super interesting. Super interesting. And you're taking it for granted. You take your life and your business and your personal development and your business development for granted because all you see in your eyes is the end result and you are not there yet. You're on your way. You don't see all that's happening in the process, just like you don't see your successes. You don't see all that wonderment going on, all that learning, all that growth, all that discipline. Wow, your life is so interesting that it must be impossible to choose what item you want to talk about from the day. There's so many things that probably happen during your day that are interesting to anybody who you have the courage to share it with. You know, you think you're small, but you are big. You are a big person. And you know, if you show your bigness, if you show your energy, people can learn from you because you're learning all the time. And don't you want to share that learning? Don't you want to help other people get to where you are with less effort? You know, be generous. Put it out there so they can learn from you, so you can be the role model. And you have so much to offer. Your life is so super interesting. So I don't know, how can we change this belief? I don't have anything interesting to share. How can we change that belief? You can change it to, my days are filled with interesting events. How about that? I like that. Let's see what kind of new beliefs that you can come with. Put it down in the comments below. What new belief you are going to take instead of, new belief you want to adopt, instead of, I don't have anything interesting to share. What new belief are you going to adopt? I'm adopting, my day is filled with interesting events that I want to tell everybody about, especially my family. Okay, now I'm going to go on to 3 behaviors that you should adopt. 3 behaviors that you'll adopt to enhance your communication with your family and theirs with you, which I think is super duper important as well. Communication goes in 2 ways. It's not just you talking, it's also getting them to talk. Matter of fact, there's a great book that I read about communicating with your children. It's how to listen to your children so that you'll talk to them. I'm going to have to, after this training, I'm going to go look for the book in my library. I'll take a picture of it and I'll post it on Facebook so you can see it. It's a great book. And one of the premises there was that you need to listen. You need to share. If you share, and this is talking about your children, if you share with your children and create a habit of it, your children will share back with you. And when they share back with you, if you listen to them, okay, and just like you don't like judgment and you don't like to have unsolicited advice and you don't want to feel misunderstood, huh? Sound familiar? Just like you don't like those things, your children also don't like those things. So when your children share with you, listen to them and be empathetic and be loving with them, and then they will share more. Okay, that's the basic premise behind these behavior things. So I'm going to start with number one. Number 1 behavior pattern that you should adopt is, and it's you should adopt it yourself, and I would recommend that you adopt it for your whole family. Yes, everyone in your family should do it, and that is celebrate all successes. And celebrate all successes, big successes and small successes. Just celebrate. Let it be known. Put it out there. Say it out loud, whatever this success is, and get people around you, even if it's to give one another a high five. That's a celebration, okay? Or to drink a glass of wine, have a toast in your honor, or go out to dinner, or take a walk, or a hug. All of these are celebrations, okay? It does not have to be a massive party where you invite 100 people, but it could be. It could be. When I wrote my last book on getting out of debt, we had a big party to celebrate the finishing of the book and the publishing of the book. Celebrated our successes, okay? And you too. I have a client now, and I think I wrote about it this week on a post on Facebook. I have a client who, after 2 years, actually, it's after 9 years, let's say 2 years of working with me, she finally reached her dream income for the month, which was a pretty high number. And what she did is she's celebrating. She's taken her whole family out. She has 2 children and her husband, and they are going out for a celebratory dinner. And she's taken them, and she explained to her kids. Her kids are, if I'm not mistaken, they're 9 and 11. And she explained to them exactly. I don't think she's mentioned them the number. That's not not what they need to know. But the fact that she reached her dream income, monthly income, is a big deal for her, and she is celebrating it, and she's celebrating it big time with her family. And I would like you to do the same thing. Celebrate all successes. Get used to it. And remember, because successes attract more success. If you ignore them, you're not going to attract success. If you celebrate them, you will attract more and more and more and more and more and more successes. Okay? So celebrate. Like I said, high five, do a toast, have a hug, go out to dinner, jump around, you know, do the dance. Do the dance? Yeah, do the dance. It's a celebration, but don't do it by yourself. Do it with your family, and it'll be fun for everybody. Everyone will get used to it, and everyone will bring their successes to the table because it's fun to bring your successes to the table. Okay? And that brings me to the next behavior, the table. Yeah. Do a round table sharing at the end of the day. I think this is a great behavior pattern for any family, irregardless of what the parents do, irregardless of the amount of people in your family. At the end of the day, you should sit down with your family and have a round table about what you did during the day. Some people like to make adaptations on it. So I used to do something called, with my kids, that I called it high and low. To say what the high was of your day and what the low was of your day. So it was an opportunity to say to them while they were growing up that not all life is easy and pleasant and fun. So we have to consider the good things and we have to consider the bad things. We can't ignore them because sometimes they need help with them. Okay, so let's talk about them. And another thing that happens when talking about the highs and the lows, a lot of times, most times, we found that the lows were so insignificant, you know, that if those were the lows all their lives, then they would have a very, very, very good life because there weren't a lot of lows. Right? It was very rare that was a big low, and there was always a high that was nice to have. So that's what we did in our family. We did the high-low game, and everyone shared one at a time. And what we did was we just listened. We just listened and then said, thank you for sharing. Again, if I saw, as a parent, because that's my responsibility to be a parent and a good parent to my children, if I saw that during the sharing they brought up something that was bells and whistles in my mind, or a little light in my mind that this needs attention, then afterwards I would ask them if they want to talk about it, and we would talk about it and get it done, but not during the round table that we were having. There are other people who take the round table opportunity and they adapt it and they talk about being grateful, which I recommend. I love it. I think all people should be grateful and should look at all the wonderful things in your life that you should be grateful of. People have a tendency of looking at all the bad things, at the things that bring them down, and focusing on the bad. I would like it if you could focus on the good things. And one of the best ways to start to focus on the good things that you have in your life is to work with a gratitude table. If you have a discussion about gratitude, or have a gratitude journal where you write once a day what you're grateful for. And being grateful, you can be grateful from anything from the sun is shining today to a great conversation you had with your kids, or the finishing a fantastic project, a project you worked on. You worked very, very hard at work for it, and you've completed it, or you made a big sale, you're grateful for it. You're grateful for your teachers. I'm grateful for my teachers, that's for sure. So it doesn't have to be grandiose things, but you could be grateful that you have a roof over your head, or food on the table, that you're healthy, that your children are healthy. There's a lot of things to be grateful for, and you can find things every day to be grateful for. So in a round table type of discussion, when you're sharing with your family, you can also share what you're grateful for. And if we take the business, because I'm here to talk to you actually about your business, You take this opportunity, if you have a roundtable discussion, however you want to manage it, whether you want to do high, low, or whether you want to talk about things that you're grateful for, it's very important that you bring things from work into the discussion. Okay? Because many of your hours during the day are spent at work. It doesn't have to be all the time. Not every day do you need to talk about work, but you need to talk about work more. You need to talk about work consistently and bring things that might be concerns that you're having, difficulties with a supplier, with a client who is challenging, with a product that's not working out the way you want it to be, with something that you got grave reviews or testimonial on something, or it could be anything. Anything. Share it with your family during these roundtables. Don't just talk about, your health and your kids and your gratitude, but talk about work. It's your golden opportunity that everyone is sitting together to bring in the work, because so many things happen to you during the day. And talking about it with somebody, or just so someone can listen to you, is helping you process it. You need this for your support. You cannot be alone in your work, even if it's just someone listening to you or listening to you talk about it and work through the process. And that brings me to the third behavior that I want to talk about. Okay, the third behavior that I want to talk about is engage them being your family, in your thought and your planning processes. Okay? Again, you work alone. You don't have colleagues or bosses or people around you who you can brainstorm ideas. Use your family. Use your family. Have them listen to you. Talk about it. When you're planning something, when you have a new product coming out, or you're designing, ask them what they think. What is this? What, you like the color? You like how it looks? The size? What do you think? And don't take any criticism. Just listen to what they have to say. Don't explain to them why what they're saying, their opinion, is good or bad either. Just take it, and you could do something with it, and you don't have to do something with it. Don't take it personally. Just listen to what's going on. Or if you're planning to have an event, let them know. Let them know what's going on. See what they think about the idea. It gets you brainstorming, not just hearing yourself talk, but also you can be getting feedback. And the feedback helps you process more how you're going to do it. Again, you can take what they have to say or not take what they have to say. Either way, it's okay. But the sharing, the engagement, you're asking their opinion. Hey, oh, come here, have a look at this. Today even, my daughter came home. She was in the kitchen making something to eat. I took my computer and I had written something, and I read it to her. I said, can I read this to you? I want to get your opinion. And I read it to her, and I got her opinion. And some things I accepted and some things I didn't. But she's involved in what's going on. So, and when I have a success on that, whatever topic it is, I brainstorm with them, I come back, then the celebration is doubly important because they get it. They know what I'm talking about. They were part of the process. Okay, even when I have a concern, I share it to engage. What do you think? How should I respond? I ask. Okay, so I am brainstorming the idea, and the more that you start to share with your family, the more they will get it. They'll understand what you're coming from. They'll understand what your goal is. They'll understand what your end game is. They'll understand how you are used to processing things. If you keep everything inside, they'll never understand that, and it'll always be like a tackle. It won't be comfortable to share. But start sharing with the techniques that I've taught you here in this Power Boost training. Start sharing with them. Start with your successes. Do the round table. Work with empowering beliefs instead of limiting beliefs. And the more that you share, the more you have real partners in your work, in your thought processes, real people who support you, who want you to succeed, real people to celebrate with. So it's not work on one side and home on the other side, which, by the way, for a woman, I think is almost impossible to do. I mean, our lives are such a mishmash of home and work and family and kids, and, and parents and siblings. There's a lot going on in our lives, so it's really hard to keep one part, and usually it's your business, to keep it so isolated from the rest of it. And once you start sharing with your family, you might even be a little bit more courageous and start sharing with your friends. Let it out there. Let them know how big you are, how you've grown, how you've succeeded. I mean, I don't understand why it's scary to do that, but it is. I understand that it is scary to do that, to put yourself out there. It's like saying, you know, wow, look at me, you're being arrogant. You're not being arrogant, not at all. You're being yourself with the people that you love and who love you. If you keep that part of you, that big part of you separate, then you really can't be yourself with other people, and then you really won't have anything interesting to share because a big part of your life is so off limits to them. Okay? So talk about it, share, and this way you create an environment that's really close to you that will be supportive of you instead of having to go look for a support system outside of your family. Your family is the best bet, but you have to train them to be really supportive and train yourself on how to get their support. Okay? Start sharing. Don't work by yourself. Don't be alone. Share and be big with those people who you're around. You won't intimidate them by being big. You won't be arrogant. They'll be proud of you. They'll be supportive of you. They'll have admiration for you. Okay? Because you are a big person. And let your light shine. So that's it for today. I'm so happy that you came here with me. I'd really like to read your comments down below on what you're thinking, how your behavior is, how you like to share, the new beliefs you like to adopt. And know that I'm always here to serve you. Anything you need, please do not hesitate to contact me. I am absolutely dedicated to your personal, your business, and your financial empowerment. This is Mindy Stern. Have a really good one. Bye.